Criminals have been leaving ransom notes since the Middle Ages as a threat to receive something that they desire in return for something they took, which we know is usually a person, typically a child, as they are much easier to abduct. Kidnapping victims very rarely make it home and are often killed after ransom is received. Ransom notes can range from letters to notes to postcards or even writing on a wall, and today on Top 5 Scary Videos we have found some of the scariest. So without further ado, let's jump into our list of the top 5 scary ransom notes.
It's the morning of the 26th.
The police were searching the house.
That's when they opened the door to the wine cellar and saw her covered in her favorite white blanket.
In at 5, the lipstick killer. In 1945, a note was left on the wall of a Chicago apartment following the slaying of 2 women. The note was left in lipstick and read as follows: "For heaven's sake, catch me before I kill more. I cannot control myself." A month after the cryptic message, 6-year-old Susan Degnans was discovered missing from her bedroom, with a ransom note found outside of her window. It read, "Get $20,000 ready and wait for word. Do not notify FBI or police. Bills in 5s and 10s. Burn this for her safety." During this period, the mayor of Chicago also received a note. It read, "This is to tell you how sorry I am not to get old Degnan instead of his girl. Roosevelt and the OPA made their own laws. Why shouldn't I, and a lot more." The notes are bizarre and clearly sent by a person with severe psychological issues, but I digress. Short while after, an anonymous tip was sent in advising the authorities to search the sewer near the Degnan home. They did, and police made a grisly discovery: the severed head and torso of Susan Degnan. The police eventually tracked down William Herons for the heinous crime, yet there is still speculation that perhaps he wasn't the true killer. In at 4, Peter Weinberger. On July 4th, 1956, a baby named Peter Weinberger was kidnapped from the front patio of his home in Long Island. The family were a typical middle-class couple, which terrified Americans, as prior to the kidnapping, most abductions were linked to prominent business owners and wealthy families. Peter was snatched from his carriage and replaced with a ransom note demanding $2,000, which the Weinbergers refused to pay, which resulted in the kidnapper sending a second note. Now, a little history here. Back in those days, by law, the FBI had to wait 7 days before involving themselves in a kidnapping case. After Peter's disappearance, the wait time was reduced to 24 hours, and present day there is no wait time at all. After the 7-day wait period, the FBI gathered handwriting specialists, which ultimately led the police to Angelo Lamarca, who was on probation and lived close to the family. He was arrested and informed the agents of the location of Peter's body. He was sentenced to execution. In at 3, Dorothy Ann Distelhurst. In September 1934, 6-year-old Dorothy was walking home from kindergarten in Nashville, Tennessee. However, she never made it home. Following her disappearance, a postcard was mailed to her parents' home that threatened to burn the girls' eyes out with acid if they didn't pay them $175,000. The family received multiple postcards like this, each describing the grisly ways in which Dorothy would die if the parents didn't pay. The police assured them that these were all likely hoaxes, but still the family flew to New York and attempted to pay the ransom to the man who claimed to have Dorothy. However, it was later discovered that the man was not the kidnapper and had actually never even been to Nashville. About a month later, Dorothy's body was discovered in a shallow grave. Her head had been bashed in and her face burned off. In at 2, John Paul Getty III. In 1973, 16-year-old John Paul Getty III was kidnapped by 9 members of the Calabrian Mafia while on holiday in Rome. The family received a ransom note demanding the payment of $17 million for his release. However, John's grandfather, oil tycoon J. Paul Getty, refused to pay the ransom. Bad move, because the next ransom letter this time came with one of John's ears and a note that read, "This is Paul's ear. If we don't get some money within 10 days, then the other ear will arrive. In other words, he will arrive in little bits." Reluctantly, the family paid the ransom and John was safely returned. 2 men were convicted of the kidnapping, however the rest of the men were acquitted. And lastly, in at number 1, JonBenét Ramsey. On Christmas Day in 1996, JonBenét Ramsey was found murdered in her parents' home in Boulder, Colorado. Prior to the discovery, Patsy Ramsey found a 2.5-page letter on a kitchen staircase demanding $118,000 for the safe return of their daughter. The letter read, "You will withdraw $118,000 from your account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attached to the bank. When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. However, as we know, JonBenét was already dead by this point, her body lying in the basement of her home. Handwriting experts were called in and it was found to match Patsy, JonBenét's mother. Media went wild, accusing the couple of the grisly murder of their daughter, but they were later cleared of having any involvement. The crime still remains unsolved to this day. Well, there we have it. Did these ransom notes scare you? Were there any that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below and perhaps we can do a part 2. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, see you later.